Chimaev is training so hard and putting it on guys. Watching him against Fluffy, do we believe that he can compete against Khamzat Chimaev? I have heard stories, guys, out of the Chimaev camp, that Chimaev is training so hard and putting it on guys, elite level guys, like nothing you've ever seen before. I have heard Khamzat Chimaev wants people to go so hard with him to try to beat him and submit him and do. He's paying him. Khamzat's putting a bounty on himself.
You want to jump in my pool?
I want to die.
Okay. No problem.
On Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, what happened in the training room? Now, Daniel Cormier talked about this, and I'm glad that he said it because it's what everybody's wondering. There was people that were there when they trained. Khamzat has one opinion. He whipped Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland has a totally different opinion. He said, wait a minute, first off, we didn't go that often, and when we did go, ain't no problems with you. Where are the bystanders? I'm so curious. Now, there's a rule in the practice room that what happens in the room stays in the room. And you would be stunned at how fiercely loyal to that code. That happened or that didn't happen, those guys have already stepped outside it. So where's the third man? Where's the fourth man? Where's the fifth man? I've been to Extreme Couture plenty of times. It's a packed gym. People would have seen Sean Strickland and Chimaev, and nobody is weighing in. It's a very fascinating concept, and Chimaev now allegedly, and everything with Chimaev is like this big secret, and it didn't used to be. And Chimaev is one of the great Gregor, Ronda Rousey, Chimaev, where the media was just drawn to him and used to get so much information. We got everything. We got personal information. We got who he's dating, who he's marrying, who he's hanging out with. We got when he was on a potential deathbed during COVID, like Chimaev let us in. We got to go with him in a car when him and Darren Till went grocery shopping. And by the way, it was interesting. I mean, like, this dude was Yuki. All of a sudden, mum's the word. He's not traveling. He's changing weight classes. He's not traveling because he can't travel. He can't get to the U.S. The stories of him can't get into the U.S. is while he was holding training camp in the U.S. As a matter of fact, it was the very time that he was in Las Vegas training with Sean Strickland, but everything just got quiet. Now, what's Chimaev gonna do? Gonna fight Imanov. He's getting called out by Strickland. Duplessis wants a rematch. Chimaev's gonna leave the division. He's going up 205 pounds. Like, it's just been really hard to get any level of clarity. So now Chimaev is back to training. Khalil Roundtree goes out and trains with him. It was pretty.
The biggest gym war secret in MMA history just exploded. Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev supposedly went to war behind closed doors, and what really happened could change everything we think we know about these two killers. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. If this legendary sparring session actually went down at a packed gym like Extreme Couture, with dozens of witnesses watching two ranked UFC contenders throw hands, then where the hell is everyone? The silence is deafening, and it's telling us way more than either fighter wants us to know.
Videos that were coming out, and a lot of the rumors were true about Chimaev's size. You could tell he was a big guy. I don't know that I would dispute the rumor, but it is still a rumor that he wanted to go up to 205 pounds. And not go up to 205 pounds because of Pierre or to become champ, because he didn't want to go back to 85. Like, he looked big and he looked good. So now you got Strickland, who's been given the opportunity, earned the opportunity. And that's a very confusing division as well. We haven't heard from Imanov what that negotiation looked like.
Listen, this isn't just some casual locker room gossip that gets whispered around the gym. We're talking about two absolute savages who are legitimate title contenders in their divisions. Chimaev came out claiming total dominance, saying he basically handled Strickland like a training dummy. Then Strickland, being the brutally honest psychopath he is, flat out denied it and completely contradicted that narrative. And in doing so, that sacred unwritten code of the gym, that rule that what happens in training stays in training, got shattered into a million pieces. This whole situation is psychological warfare at its finest, the kind of mental chess game that affects how every single fighter in the division views them and how every fan perceives their abilities. But here's where it gets absolutely wild.
The Scorn lover is the first one to come out and start telling us what happened and how they were wrong. Imanov did not do that. Drickus weighed in on the situation. And Drickus had the same experience with Sean Strickland that I had with Sean Strickland. And Drickus was talking about, man, the first time you go with this guy, you think he's a wrestler. When you don't know anything about him, and you haven't met yet, you just feel him. At the end of the workout,
Think about this scenario for a second. If two top-tier fighters like Strickland and Strickland truly threw down in a packed facility with tons of people training there, then how on earth are there no credible witnesses coming forward? The code of silence in MMA gyms is legendary, but both fighters already broke that code by speaking publicly about what happened. So where are the other training partners? Where are the coaches holding pads? Where are the guys warming up nearby who saw everything go down? This silence screams volumes and tells us something significant is happening here. It makes you wonder if the truth is way more nuanced than either guy is letting on, or if there are consequences for breaking that code that are more severe than we could imagine.
he's even harder to keep there. And it's a very interesting concept. I mean, Drickus went as far as to say that he thinks that Sean's got a very good chance in the fight, and he said in a stand-up realm that Sean is much better than Chimaev. Now, I would challenge Drickus on that, but I would challenge him very respectfully, like as the former champion who's been in the ring the better part of 75 minutes with these guys. He has the right to his opinion, but it did surprise me. Like, what do you mean meaning Strickland? What do you mean he's meaningfully better in the striking than Chimaev?
Now get this. Remember when Chimmy was basically an open book? The dude was filming himself grocery shopping with Darren Till, giving us detailed fight camp footage, connecting with fans on a completely different level than most fighters. This transparency and willingness to let people into his life is what built his mystique in the first place. He felt relatable as a person, yet utterly dominant as a fighter. But now, complete radio silence. This shift in his public image is dramatic and deliberate, making the secrecy around his Strickland training even more pronounced. Here's what I'm wondering. Why the sudden change from a guy who used to share everything? Was the experience with Sean so impactful that it contributed to Chimmy retreating into this guarded approach? Did something happen in that gym that fundamentally changed how he wants to be perceived?
I went back and watched that fight, but I was at that fight. I don't remember that. I mean, it was pretty quick, and it came across the corner, and it was the same takedown every time, and it was a double leg, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I'm just asking, does he have the knowledge? Is that accurate? I mean, that's the day-old story all the way back to 1993. Well, if this guy can keep it standing, or if this guy can get it to the ground, it's the day-old lazy approach to an analysis to MMA. The problem is, somewhere around 2007, that no longer became true. Guys were just complete fighters, and I'm only asking the question. I mean, these guys have fought. There's something known as a...
But wait, it gets even weirder. Stories were circulating claiming Chimmy couldn't get into the United States due to visa issues or travel restrictions. Yet somehow, at that exact same time, he was actively training with Strickland in Las Vegas, which last time I checked is very much in America. This contradiction in the timeline fuels massive speculation and makes it incredibly difficult to get a clear picture of what Chimmy was actually doing. The inconsistencies around his movements and motivations only intensify the mystery of his training with Sean. It's like pieces of a puzzle that don't fit together no matter how you arrange them. And here's the kicker about Chimmy's physical presence.
In all of sports, but you really feel it in combat. And the mask is the aura. Mike Tyson wore the mask. Anderson Silva wore the mask. Where guys would buckle in the back. There was just this aura around this guy. He was invincible. If he touches me, he's gonna knock me out. This guy's so good, he can put me on his finger and spin me around. But it's a real thing. It's a real thing until you get in there and you feel him. And a lot of times when it's done, you go, boy, I wish I could do that again. I could have done better. Whether I would have won or not, I could have competed better. That guy was not this...
The sheer size of Khamzat and his rumored move to light heavyweight are genuinely intimidating when you factor them into this story. He wasn't contemplating moving up for champion versus champion status, but to avoid cutting back down to middleweight. That speaks volumes about how big he truly is and the toll those weight cuts take. This physical presence is critical when considering his sessions with Strickland, because size matters whether people want to admit it or not. If Chimmy was walking around at light heavyweight size, imagine the force he brought to those sparring sessions. It makes Strickland's defiance of Chimmy's claims even more impressive, because Sean is facing what's essentially a bigger man in training. That size differential is real and significant.
When you train with a guy, Once you train with him and once you work out with him, once you see him dragging in the gym like everybody else and trying to wrap his hand and just like trying to get the motivation to get through a workout. Once you feel him and you sweat with him and you watch other guys go, the mask is off. And Chimaev is very much one of these guys that has a mask. There was an aura around Chimaev. Now, what's going to happen is between these guys, and I fully do believe that Chimaev feels that he got the best of Sean, and that Sean's going, hey, wait a minute, there's a little bit more to the story, which is very real in the practice.
Here's where things get really interesting. Dricus du Plessis, who's actually fought both guys under real conditions, gives us gold-level insights into this situation. His description of Strickland talks about a wrestler's physique and relentless pressure, painting Sean as a deceptively strong opponent who's tougher than he looks. Dricus finding parallels between fighting both guys lends serious credibility to this assessment because he's not just speculating, he's lived it. This humanizes Strickland and makes his counter-narrative to Chimaev's claims feel more authentic and grounded in reality. But then Dricus drops a bombshell that immediately raises eyebrows.
One guy sat out the round before, and the other guy had his hardest round the round before, and now it's right. There's all sorts of things, and there's all sorts of math that's going on in a fighter's mind. Like a fighter could openly lose rounds to another guy and go, no, but I got the best of you, and then have his reasons why. And a training round is very deceptive. You're grappling at 100%, but you're striking at 80%. That's a broad stroke term, but that's pretty consistent throughout gyms everywhere. And I'm just wondering, who was the third man? I've broken the deal about what stays in the room. That was Sean's gym. That was Sean's room. Chimaev was a guest. These are the facts. Who saw those sparring sessions? I want to hear what they remember. Who was the common opponent? It wasn't like Sean and Chimaev just went with each other. Each round they went with somebody else. Who was there? I'm curious. I want to know what really happened.
Khamzat claims Strickland is meaningfully better in the striking department than Chimaev. That's a bold statement to say the absolute least. While he's earned the right to his opinion as someone who fought both men, Chimaev's striking has shown flashes of devastating power and technical improvement. This assertion directly impacts how we perceive that training session. If Strickland truly outstruck Chimaev in the gym, consistently landing better shots and winning exchanges, it would fundamentally shift the power dynamic of their rivalry and add massive weight to Sean's version of events. It's a claim that needs scrutiny, especially given Chimaev's reputation as a complete mixed martial artist. But hold up, when did we actually see Khamzat striking truly tested against Dricus? If you go back and watch that fight, it was predominantly wrestling and grappling. This highlights a common pitfall in MMA analysis where people draw conclusions about one skill from a fight dominated by another. If Dricus's perception stems from grappling exchanges rather than striking, it's potentially flawed. How much of these gym war narratives is based on perception versus objective truth? This forces us to reevaluate the reliability of such stories when specific skill sets aren't fully tested under actual fight conditions. Now here's the psychological element that changes everything. The concept of the mask in combat sports perfectly explains what might have happened between these two. Fighters like Prime Mike Tyson and Anderson Silva mastered this mental game, intimidating opponents before a punch was thrown. It's about mystique and invincibility that makes opponents doubt themselves. This applies directly to Chimaev, whose early UFC career was built on mythical dominance. Opponents would mentally buckle under his aura before fights even started. Did Strickland, known for his mental fortitude and complete lack of fear, see through Chimaev's mask and realize he's human? Or was Sean overwhelmed by the mystique? This is the absolute crux of the gym war narrative. The mask comes off when you train with someone day after day through hard rounds. It's in those grueling moments when you're exhausted that the aura dissipates and you realize they're just another fighter. Chimaev, master of cultivating intimidating presence, likely had his mask tested by Strickland in ways he hadn't experienced. This explains the conflicting narratives. Chimaev might genuinely believe he dominated based on his reputation and early exchanges, while Strickland, having seen the human behind the mystique, feels he held his own or got the better of it. It's perception versus reality in the training room environment.